Yes, Roy, and last night in Sydney there was a test match between the Great Britain touring Lions and the Australian Rugby League side. I think they're, normally called the Kangaroos, but traditionally I understand the kangaroo term is used when the tourists, that is the Australians, travel to England. Yeah. However, be this as may...
Let's call them for intention purposes.
Kangaroos, yes, that's the Australian Rugby League side. I must confess that I had understood there were minor changes made to the gear that has been traditionally worn for these fixtures last night on the Kangaroos side, and even further changes are being anticipated in time for this year's test against Papua New Guinea, i.e. in the kit, the strip, so-called, that the players will be wearing. Now, traditionally speaking, it's been a very, very attractive Guernsey of a bottle green, dark green ground with a beautiful yellow... V, as in green and gold. Double V, yes, one wider, one thinner stripe. And, obviously, the Australian coat of arms on one nipple, yes, and on the other nipple a symbol from the world of rugby league. Now, what we saw last night was the beginnings of the living end, as far as I could see, in a tradition that dates back for the...
to the year dot.
Indeed. Since people first thought about booting a severed head around a paddock after a big kill in a tribal battle. And let's face it, that's the origins of football. Now, when we come to last night, I was staggered, Roy, when I first saw... The first thing that caught my eye was Dizzy Gillespie's tracksuit. Now, it wasn't a normal tracksuit. It wasn't sort of what you'd call, your standard regulation.
He was wearing a Ringling Brothers circus tent.
He was, and it was blowing up like an Alan Bond blimp. An Alan Bond blimp. It was big.
Shapeless, formless, made him look like a big goose.
Indeed, you couldn't see any definition of buttock or thigh at all. I don't think the bloke had his wedding tackle with him last night, from what I could see. I think he left it in the boot of his car. You could not see anything, Roy. There was no definition. The Poms must have been laughing themselves.
Well, they weren't, except they're wearing the same stupid Umbro sort of gear.
Now, not only does the tracksuit not have a simple zipper up the front that you can undo very quickly, it's got buttons and lap-over bits and Velcro ties and hoods. You can sleep in the thing and feel comfortable. Is that the way to get our rugby league team up and firing and hating the Poms, Roy? To put them in motley, cotton wool sleeping bags with doona downs all around them in just a gawpy green? That's the beginning now, Roy. That's the beginning. When we have a look at what Arco and Bob out of it, thanks very much ARL, have got in mind for the Kumul's test later on in the year, you can only wonder how the boys will be able to put a pig clothes on their nose and climb into the gear, because it reeks, Roy. It absolutely reeks. It reeks of people trying to cash in on changing football jumpers to force young kiddies of this nation not to wear their older brothers when it comes to their size, but to be forced to go out and buy a bit of clobber that's going to make them look like a Nancy boy. And I don't resolve from that word for one moment, Roy.
Look, I agree with you. Look, the one thing, there's been a number of constants in this funny old world of ours, and one of them has been a green and a gold.
People are born with it, Roy.
It's outside fashion.
Yeah.
It's not a fashion statement. It's a statement of intent. Intent to kill for your country. Intent to get out there and die for green and gold.
Yes.
Not for some Nancy slimmy, hip, limpid, wussy sort of designer gear that you might see a Frenchman wearing at a perfume party. I thought of Simpy Bush and Tommy Gorman and Wally Prigg and Eric Weiss and Georgie Cherick and Ceci Blinkhorn and Les Cowie and Chucky Fraser and Arthur Clues. And I asked myself, what would they have done with this gear? They'd have torn the bloody thing off, stabbed themselves and worn red.
Old lock forwards, missing the action, missing the mates, missing the effort. The club might have forgotten you. Roy and HG haven't. And they'll Nelson's Slavin double-bummed lounge is a welcome addition to any retired player's games room. Packed down as you did all those years ago. Amuse friends and family with yarns and demonstrations from the engine room. More importantly, show the kiddies technique.